Very good to know. All right, guys, welcome back to our program. Hey, it's me. It's all right. Sometimes we like to, shift our focuses and whatnot. By the way, we've come to our first talk show. It's time for that time of mark. But of course, have you ever made up a bedtime story for your children? This is something that my children likes to ask me. Sometimes they're like, Mom, you already read that book. We want you to make up a story. And I'm like, once upon a time, there's a mom who wants their children to go to sleep, right? That once upon a time. Well, today is the perfect time for you to do it because March the 20th is the World Storytelling Day.
Right, and it celebrates the art of oral storytelling. And on this special day, people around the globe would listen and tell stories in as many languages as possible. And of course, that includes schools, libraries, and other organizations who are holding these storytelling events today, including here in Indonesia.
Once upon a time in 1997, storytellers in Australia coordinated a 5-week-long celebration of story which called All Storytellers Day. Since then, the world has celebrated the art of storytelling on the same date every year. This year, the big theme of the celebration is Together We Can. Telling story could enhance children's social intelligence. They can learn from the moral value of the story, and furthermore, they could implement it in their life.
Now, of course, to celebrate World Storytelling Day, we're going to have a discussion about teaching children to love books. Now, joining us in the studio in the morning, Mas Aryo Zidni, also known as Kaayo, a storyteller who often represents Indonesia in various international storytelling festivals. Hi, good morning, Kaayo.
Good morning, thank you.
Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor, especially Ranga and myself. We're both parents. So today we want to, and you? Yes. So we want to get as many knowledge from Kaayo today.
Okay. Try my best.
Of course. Thank you so much, though, for sharing it with us. Sometimes it's really hard for, me as a parent, when my children, as we, stated before, when they ask me to, make up a story, Mom, because, we've already heard the books that you already read, right? And we're like, oh my gosh, why is it so hard? When actually, if we play with our imagination, that should come easily with practice. That's why we are practicing with you today.
So it's a workshop then?
Yeah. It's a workshop and sharing knowledge. But you as a storyteller, one of the best known right here in the country itself, where does this journey begin? Your craft and as a storyteller.
It began on 1999, I think.
Wow.
Yes, that was during my college year.
Okay.
So one of my lecturer, Miss Nina, she asked me to join her social project.
Okay.
It was also with KPBA. So they asked us to volunteer to tell stories in the Rumah Sakit Cipto Mangunkusumo,
Yes.
hospitals for children with cancer.
Oh.
So that happened during weekend, between Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
So I raised my hand, so I
So
will
that's
do
where
that.
the journey started.
Yeah, that's when I fell in love with storytelling, because it's just like giving your time and choosing the right stories and doing your best with all your heart, and that's it.
How can you make the children interested though? Sometimes because your people read books with just one monotone voice, right? And there's no fun of that. But then don't you think that with storytelling you need to?
Well, for me,
Yeah.
storytelling is only two. One, storytelling with reading, with text, and the other is not. So we call read aloud. That's one style of storytelling, and the other one is just telling stories with props, with puppets, with strings, with origami, or with nothing props at all. But yeah, we can make up stories. Sometimes it became silly stories and still be fun with children because they never judge you the way you tell the stories or which story that you choose, but you become really close to them. It's the best thing for them.
Yeah.
So, but bedtime stories or anytime stories is best.
There you
in
go.
your experience, because you mentioned two ways of telling stories to children, right? Now, in your experience, which one actually would have more interest with the kids? Whether you're just telling it read aloud, or do you have to use props? Both for kids.
Yes.
They react to both in the same way. Okay.
Actually, it's depend on the storyteller, depend on the parents or the teachers, the librarian, or any volunteers who will do the storytelling session. What is your goal?
Okay.
You want to just make some fun, you can do with which kind of style of telling stories. But if you want to like focus on the literature, the literacy, like you want to show them this is the letters, this is the word. You want to teach them how to get to like books, to like readings.
Right.
To enhance their reading habits. So you need to use books. You can read the books, read aloud, or you can just use the books and use your imagination with the pictures.
So then one book can become one tool not only for that story, but it can interpret to a lot of stories that you can really made up to, right? You know, we were just speaking before during the break that, especially nowadays, that we, parents and books, really need to go head to head with gadgets, especially nowadays, right? I mean, the gadgets has always caught their attention. Now, would you say that this is also the responsibilities of the adults, parents, educators, teachers, and whatnot, for the kids to love and enjoy the book as we were enjoying books when we were young kids?
Yes, absolutely. Also, when it comes to the gadgets, it's also parents' responsibility, right?
Yes.
Because they bought it, they give it.
Right.
We have to set rules.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding us that. We bought it for
Very,
them.
very
Thank
good.
you.
And that's going to be their world.
Right.
Yeah.
So we cannot like separate them with the gadgets, but we need to make it balance with their off screen time.
Yes.
Right.
So that's why storytelling became important, because it's not only giving them like off the screen time, but it's also giving them a chance to get to know to the parents. So it's the bonding time, and also giving them like, because now on the gadget, everything became like very fast and very instant.
Yes.
So they can't read deeply with full text.
That's right.
And
That's right.
With the comprehension about all the text, because that's why we have like clickbait, hooks, and everything. Because they don't want to read; they just need the headline.
Yes.
That's why we need storytelling and read aloud, so they can understand the whole story of everything.
And understand the value and essentials, I guess, right?
True.
Yeah.
But we need to have a good way for that, for them to comprehend the story.
Right.
Yeah.
So I always told everyone, don't give the conclusion of every story that you told after the story session.
Right.
But you need to have a discussion.
Okay.
So when you ask your son or your daughter, what do you think about the story?
Right.
Oh, you like that part. Why? Do you like this character? Why do you? So
you expand.
when
You gotta get there.
So if we conclude the story, they understand, but only that.
Yeah.
Right.
But we can understand how they like the story, how they understand the story, which part they like. So if we have that kind of discussion, we take them to a journey for them to try to analyze things, to become critical, and it's good for them.
There you go.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah. This is good.
Because it's, I mean, I love that you're sharing this knowledge, because sometimes we always make that conclusion of the book, right?
Right.
It's like, then you have to have empathy and kindness, that's it. But we never ask about the character. What do you think about this character? And what character? What do you feel?
The critical thinking part is really good for them to be able to analyze what the story is about and ask and be very active with the kids, right? Now, with that in mind, do you then have a preferred time to tell the story to the kid during the day, because this is good for me. This is actually a light bulb just came out, right? It's just saying to me, okay, Ranga, you don't want to do this just during at nighttime before they go to bed, because then you don't have the time to give your son to analyze or to ask questions about it. So is it better to do it in the daytime, or?
Yeah, it can be done anytime, as long as both of you are ready.
Okay.
When you are ready to tell the story,
right.
You have the chosen story. Also, you are ready to make story out of
Yes.
nowhere.
Right, right.
But also the children needs to be ready. They don't like, I'm still playing my game.
Right. Yes.
But you force them, that can't
It's
be
not
done.
gonna
it's
be a
not
good
going to
idea.
be.
Mommy said sit down.
Yeah.
We're gonna read a book right now.
Okay,
right?
but their mind is
Yes.
still
Or
somewhere
mommy's
else.
like, mommy's reading a book. Okay, wait, hold on. My recipe for today.
Oh, I need to check out this online shop.
right, right. So that's what you meant by time. You need to have that, exclusive time to be ready from both of the parties.
Yes.
One of the questions that also we asked before that we were raised and brought up outside before, and I think it's very customary in the Western countries, especially where the teachers would have this reading time with the children, and also, like you said, analyzing every characters. How do you feel and whatnot. But is that also customary now here, not only on the international school, but also the public school?
Yes.
Okay,
Now
good.
we have
Okay, good.
teachers
Good to hear.
doing storytelling.
Okay.
Now we have teachers also in public schools. They doing reading time together with children,
Okay.
10 minutes
good. It's good.
before the school time.
Yes.
So it's not books based on the curriculum, but it's the book that the children choose from the library or they bring their own. So it's fiction books.
Right.
Or it can be also non-fiction, but it's not related to the school materials.
Right.
And it's so beautiful because now we have a lot of volunteers who do campaign about Read Loud, and we have a lot of volunteers who do storytelling activities, and we have like the Ayodonge Indonesia is one community who every month they have this free classes of storytelling.
Okay.
Everyone can join. And also every month they have this pop-up storytelling in public spaces. So people can come, bring their children, they can enjoy storytelling, but they also can watch and learn from every kind of beautiful style of telling story. So it's not only from book.
You're right.
It's not only using puppet,
Yes.
but sometimes those volunteers, they're using strings, they're using a piece of paper. We call it storygami.
Okay.
And sometimes they with
Musical instruments.
yes,
Yeah.
Wow.
musical storytelling,
Yes.
theatrical, but it's fun. It's like just having a chat with the audience, and it felt like it's not a big show of storytelling, but it gets you close with the audience, and it's good.
Is
better.
that what you need, right? The
I
intimacy,
think so.
right?
The intimacy,
Yeah.
the engagement,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Trying to get
because we
them,
want
spark
parents
their
also
interest.
to copy that.
Yeah, and we've
Yes.
seen also right nowadays a lot of Indonesian books, because usually you would go to a bookstore and there's a lot
Right.
of those international books where there's a lot of those engagement books and whatnot, colorful. But right now there's Indonesian books in Bahasa Indonesia by an Indonesian author, Indonesian illustrator also, it is amazing. How is that profit to your storytelling world?
Well, my style of telling story, it's kind of different from the other. I call it like creative storytelling and it's based on books. I have a lot of stories. My repertoire are based on books. So with the Indonesian writers and Indonesian children writers and Indonesian illustrator create a lot of beautiful books, and it's also contain Indonesian stories with cultural background. It's so Indonesian. So it's easy for me to pick one and do it with my style to telling it. And it's very helpful. That's also helpful for all the volunteers and all the storytellers in Indonesia. So it's the ecosystems of children's stories. It's like evolving beautifully.
Expanding. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I want to dig a little bit more about the maybe the benefits or maybe styles of storytelling, but not so much there. But because I have two kids. One is a girl, she's already 13 years old. I mean, she's not a kid anymore. I don't really read stories to her.
Preteens.
Yes. But I got a boy who's 5, who's going to be 6 in about a couple of months. Now, I know that his interest of listening to me while reading stories were pretty good. And then, with age, I think it's coming down a little bit, becoming more and more less interested. Now, how do I keep that interest to stay up here for just maybe a little year or two, because we want to keep our little ones, right? We want to keep as long as we can the little ones, because we want to make sure that they get.
Actually, it's not only the little one, the bigger one. Because for me, everyone, they love to hear stories, just like us.
You're right.
Yeah.
And we love to tell stories.
Right. Okay.
But the interests are different during different ages.
Okay.
I mean, like we adult, we like to listen to stories that kind of in reality and
Yes.
useful for
You're
us,
right.
maybe inspiring and motivational
Correct.
stories.
Yeah. Okay.
So that can be done also for your preteens, the 13 years old.
All right.
And it's not have to be like bedtime stories, but it can be done during weekend when you're traveling and it's jam,
Right,
or
right.
you go to grocery together every month and you can tell stories only 2 or 3 minutes.
Right. Okay.
When you share stories, you need to listen stories. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's not the telling that very important, but
Yeah.
also the listening part. So you need to listen. You need to watch. You need to see their gestures, how they respond to your story. That's good. And when you decided to tell a story, you need to find, is he or she still interesting in that topics,
Right.
in that folk tales or not? Or I need to like step up or find another topics.
Different topic.
Yeah, because every age they have, or every children, they have different interests on different topics of story. And it doesn't have to be folk tales. It can be a real story,
Yeah.
historical story from your family or your past, your experience,
Right.
or daily story.
That can.
So yeah, this morning I met a storyteller.
Yeah.
Have you seen any storyteller before in your school or in your library?
Yeah.
You can start by telling your part of the story, and then they can come with their own story, and that's it, the bonding. And that's story time also.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's always that line that you always said, it's always about the bonding between the adults and also the children. Now, we want to ask Kayo your own personal journey. What made a difference, especially coming from you, and then also all the people, I mean, all the parents that you see that children that likes to have the storytelling time, or a parent that spare their time for have a storytelling time with their children, and those who doesn't? What kind of this nurture bonding that you get through storytelling?
It's very simple. Like the children trust the parents more.
Trust. Yes.
Because now it's not easy for children to trust the parents.
Correct.
For them to tell their, like, I have a problem, even though it's very simple. But if you never tell stories to your children, and you never listen to your children while you're telling a story, and you never discuss anything openly
Yeah.
after you tell the stories or during you tell the stories, then you can't build from your children to trust you.
Yeah.
Because every time they will share a story, their very small problem with the parents, they always thought that they will judge me. My parents will judge me. I will get punished.
Okay, I'm guilty
They
here.
will like
I want to cry. Oh my
they
gosh,
will
that's
become
right.
angry with me.
Yeah.
They will never listen to me. They always want to hear the bad side. What? What did you do? What a mess did you do?
Right.
Only that. But
Don't want.
every time you tell a story and then, yeah. And then the kids respond and then you stop and listen.
Yeah.
That's the best part for children because they will know that they will not judge me.
Yeah.
They will listen to me. They will listen to my story.
Yeah.
And they will become like confidence and they will become also safe because I have my parents, my guardian angel. They will listen to every problem. So every time they got problem, they can share it with you and they will know you will listen and we will find the solution together.
Right.
That's the bonding that I need to share with the others because I have that with my kid.
Yeah.
And all of my friends that they used to tell stories even before the kids are born, they're having that also. It's beautiful when when you're hearing your children
Yeah,
telling
of
you their
course.
problems or just
No,
sharing
no,
stories.
of course. It's
I just can't
been
believe
happening.
in World Sterling Day that we got a life skill parenting also.
that,
You know,
right?
it's,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm just so amazed that, you know, sometimes us as an adult that we like to speak but we don't listen.
Exactly.
And then when you
You're right,
said those
you're right.
little matter, those little problem for them, that we don't see it as, that's just a small matter. Why do you take a
Yeah,
big deal
why-
out of it?
right.
When it's already a big deal for them. And then for them to share with us, you know, and wanting to trust us. And then when you just, you know, kind of swipe it away, just thinking, that's just so small, little things that they're having this mistrust with us.
There you
because
go.
we're not engaged to their problems and not listening to them.
Right.
Oh my gosh, thank you for opening my heart. I mean, like right now, I'm like reflecting to myself, Carol, you have to change.
Yeah, me too. Because now, again, like I said, I got a 13-year-old, I got a almost 6-year-old boy, and I
Yeah.
got two different spectrum,
Yeah.
of course. But then again, it kind of opened up my eyes a little bit on how to deal with each and every one of them. The older one, the younger one.
Yeah.
And even though she's 13 now, like you said, I can still tell stories. We can still share stories. I can still listen
Yeah.
to whatever she's actually telling me. Because again, 13-year-old girl, I mean, it's not really...
It's definitely that.
She's not easy, right? I mean, of course. But every time she comes up to me telling me something like, this might be important, I better listen, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, okay. But I still...
Now in Indonesia, we have we call a small community they call the Nest. It's a space for adult and teens to share stories. So it's not children's stories.
Right.
It's stories for adult.
Okay. That's
So
The
it's
Nest.
The Nest.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
it's
interesting.
like
For the-
online. Well, it's created during the pandemic, so everything was online before. But we knew that adults need to share stories too,
Yes.
just like curhat.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry from the bottom of your heart.
Right.
Yeah.
But they can still use the theory of stories, the opening, the middle, and
Right.
the ending.
Okay.
So it became like beautiful.
Right.
Even though adult, they can share stories, not like the storyteller who entertain on the big stage, but it's very close and
Right.
intimate story session, and so it's beautiful.
It's a comprehensive thing, right? And this is as a life too. We need to, especially we're working in this kind of industry where you need to have an opening, you have the substance, and you
Yes.
also have the ending and the
you have to-
value that you like to share.
Yes.
Kayo, before we conclude our talk show, especially on World Storytelling Day, what would you want, especially right here for the storytellers, for educators, and also for the parents and also the children through storytelling?
Well, so we have this, just like I mentioned before, the Ayo Dongeng Indonesia. That still become my dream because I want parents, teachers, and also every adult who can tell stories, who can share stories, to keep telling stories because we need that.
Yeah.
We need people to tell stories, not through gadget.
Right.
Yes, we can use gadget, we can use the media to spread the stories even wider, but we still need those intimate and the quality time between people.
Right.
So keep telling stories because stories, little stories, does matter.
All right. That's really good. Little stories matter. Well, Kakak, thank you for coming in. Kakak Iyo, right?
Kakak Iyo, yes.
Ayo, yes. Thank you for coming in.
Carol.
And this is World Storytelling Day, and hopefully you guys caught a lot of the good stuff there from Ka Ayo. And this today is the World Storytelling Day. Make sure you sit down with your kids, make sure you tell stories, and then not only that, make sure you listen to their stories too. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna have a recap of our news from the previous segment. Stay with us in the Same Morning Show on See Today.
That's right.